Hey everyone, what's going on? Major heat wave in New York today. I am sweating right now and I turned off my air conditioning so I could shoot this lovely video for you in my living room. So welcome to my living room. But really quick, I'm heading out, but I wanted to just chat with you just for 5 minutes about contentment, something that I wrote about this week, spoke on at church, and I want to kind of expand on it because I've been reading through it all over again and thinking about just processing my way through it. And so Philippians 4:11 was the main verse, and it says, "For I've learned to be content in whatever circumstances I find myself in." My trusty notes, I'm going to pull them all out from here. So the cool word I want to focus on here is learned. Paul said he had to learn to be content. If you had to learn something, that means you weren't necessarily born with it, right? So as I've grown up, I've learned that I'm all right at writing, and I'm still learning how to be a better writer. I learned last week, after a decent amount of practice, I have potential in cornhole. Just saying. Very excited about that. Could have been like a one-shot deal where I just got lucky, but I like to believe that I learned to be good at it. I've also learned things that I'm not good at in my lifetime. Figure skating. I will never, ever, ever be good at skating. I will never be good at math. I graduated high school without knowing my times tables, and I actually think that's something to be proud of. Moving on. But you've learned things too over time. You've learned things that you've been good at, what you haven't been good at. You've learned over time. It was a process. So contentment, Paul is saying here, it's something that he has learned, that no matter what season he's been through, he has to grow through it. So I want to talk about how contentment is a process. Contentment is a process. It's about being satisfied when your outside forces and situations no longer disturb you. It's when you're satisfied because you're rooted in something stronger than your emotions, rooted in something stronger than the situations that you're going through and that you're facing. And it's not that you deny your emotions. It's not that you deny that you're going through bad stuff or hard times. You don't walk through life as a zombie. You have emotions for a reason. But contentment is not based on your emotions. It's rooted in something deep, and it's learned over time. And the more you do it, the more it becomes like second nature to us. Having trust in God makes you not move in really difficult situations. Learning to be content is learning each day to trust and submit to God, which everyone's like, oh my gosh, submit? No, I ain't doing it. Submit has like a really bad connotation attached to it, but it's really not a bad thing. Submitting, I wrote down here, is not to fight your way through it, but to submit and let God fight for you. Fight for you through the difficult situations. Fight for you so you can have contentment in your life. Just the past 2 weeks, as I was reflecting, I've spoken to a few people who are going through really difficult situations. People who are dealing with anxiety and depression, stuff that's just been really tough for them. People who are making really difficult decisions. People who are stressed in certain relationships. I even spoke to someone this week who just shared about the difficult past that they recently had. But as I reflect, like I'm saying, over all those stories, I'm amazed and completely inspired that even though these people are going through difficult things and might not seem perfect, every day might look a little different, they're continuing just to show up, try their best, and they're continuing to trust in God, and they're submitting to Him and keeping their head up, and they're just looking forward. And I think as they're doing that, God is in the little and the big things, and small seconds, long hours, days, whatever. God is just showing them how they can be content through Him. So I just want to say and encourage you, no matter what, you can learn contentment, and it is a process. Following that passage that God gives us contentment also talks about how we can do all things through Christ who gives us strength, which is funny because we hear that verse all the time, but that verse is coming off the previous one, which is about contentment. So you can be content and you can do all things through Christ who gives you strength. So when you submit, like we're talking about, God is that strength for you. God is going to bring you through it. So it's about trusting him in every season that you're in, whether you're on the mountaintop, whether you're in the valley below, whether you're going through crap, whether it feels like everything's going right for you. It's about trusting God, and that's your unwavering foundation, which is extremely, it's like a breath of fresh air for me. And I feel like it could be a breath of fresh air for you if you just kind of just embrace it. So my encouragement is, contentment is a process. We're not always going to get it right, but I think if it's in the forefront of our mind and we try our best, I really believe God's going to honor that as we trust him. And not only that, I think if our rights outweigh our wrongs, then we're doing something definitely right, and God sees it. So make sure you show up, live content, and of course, above all, that comes from trusting God. So I love you guys, no matter what you're going through. Remember, trust in him and you can get through it. Love you guys, and I will see you next time.